स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello students, welcome to StudyIQ's initiative, the podcast. I am your host Dipansh Moorjani. In today's episode, we are going to discuss FPTP system, that is first past the post system in detail. Sir, can you enlighten us on FPTP system in simple words?
Election process is very critical for any democratic values and state. And FPTP system, that is first past the post system, is been adopted for having a general election for Lok Sabha in India. In FPTP system, whoever has more votes than all other competitive candidates is declared elected or winner. The winning candidate need not secure a majority of vote share, that means more than 50% of votes. In the electoral race, the candidate who is ahead of others, who crosses the winning post first of all, is the winner. This method is also called the plurality system. This is the method of election prescribed by our constitution. The votes that go to all the losing candidates go waste. For those candidates or parties get no seats for those votes. We will try to understand with a simple example. Suppose a party gets only 25% of the votes in every constituency. However, everyone else gets even less votes than 25%. In that case, the party would win all the seats with only 25% votes or even less than that. The issue with FPTP is that the certain groups of people will never get a share in the power structures of any electoral process. During the drafting of constitution, various systems of proportional representations were considered and put forward. However, the FPTP system was eventually adopted to avoid fragmented legislatures and to facilitate the formation of stable government. All the key representatives except President, Vice President, members of Rajya Sabha and members of State Legislative Council are elected via FPTP system.
Sir, what made our constitutional makers inclined towards this FPTP system? Basically, we want to understand the merits of first past the post system.
As we have discussed about FPTP system, and it is very simple to understand for the voters as well as the candidates, it has been adopted in India. Now let's see what are the pinpointed merits of FPTP point-wise. Number one, that its simplicity. FPTP is very simplistic in nature. How? Using single member, districts and candidate-centered voting makes it very simple to make voters as well as candidate to understand the electoral process. The second important merit for FPTP is stability. FPTP system presents the advantages of producing a majority government at general election by being decisive, simple and familiar to the electorate. The next merit of FPTP is freedom to choose. FPTP system allows voters to choose between people as well as parties, with voters having the opportunity to assess the performance of a candidate. The next merit of FPTP is broad-based participation. FPTP system encourages political parties themselves to have more broad-based participation so that more and more number of people will include and participate in the electoral process. The next merit of FPTP system is connecting link between candidate and voter. FPTP system ensures that there is a link between a constituency and its representative in the legislature and incentivizes representatives to serve their constituents well. This ultimately shows that it will establish the link between candidate and voters with an strong accountability.
Sir, can you throw some light on demerits of FPTP system?
As we have understood the merits of FPTP system, there are few demerits of the system as well. The first demerit is discrepancy and waste vote. There is commonly a discrepancy in the vote share and the seat share in results, where votes given to smaller parties are vested since they do not give a voice in the legislature. I will try to elucidate this with an example in Indian context. In the year 2014 in general election, we have seen that the NDA, which is National Democratic Alliance led by the Bharatiya Janata Party BJP, won the 336 seats. However, their vote share was less than 40% of the total population. The second demerit is that FPTP encourages caste, religion, ethnicity and regional politics, and it also will have an impact in distortion of electoral process. FPTP system may leads to the exclusion of small or regional parties from the parliament. FPTP system have the issue is that the victorious party has most often not secured the majority of votes. It is possible for a party to win a majority of seats with just 20 to 26% or 30 to 36% of vote share rather than having a 50% majority for them. This makes that the other 74% of the vote share defunct. And next demerit of FPTP system is that the FPTP often works to the disadvantage of the smaller social groups. In the social context of India, the FPTP electoral system can mean that the dominant social groups and caste can win everywhere and the opposed social groups may continue to remain unrepresented due to their less population. In FPTP system, smaller parties, when they have a broad base across constituencies rather than a concentrated following in a few constituencies, may fail to win even a single seat, even if their vote share is significant. This had happened in the election of Odisha, where Congress and BSP, even they got very significant vote share in the general election.
Sir, for election of Member of Parliament, there are two types of systems available. For Rajya Sabha, there is proportional representation, and in Lok Sabha, there is FPTP system. So can you elucidate the differences between these two systems?
Both the system have their merits and demerits. But however, we have to understand what are the basic differences between these two systems. Number one, in proportional representation, large geographical areas are demarcated as constituencies as single constituency. It can be possible that the entire country may be a single constituency. We have seen this in Israel and Netherlands. However, in first past the post system, the country is divided into small geographical units called constituencies or districts. The next difference between FPTP and PR system is that in proportional representation, more than one representatives may be elected from a single constituency. However, in FPTP system, every constituency elects only and only one representative. The next difference is that in proportional representation, voters vote for the party instead of the candidate. However, in FPTP, voters vote for a candidate and not for a party. The next difference between both of them is that in proportional representation, every party gets seats in the legislature in proportion to their percentage of vote share they get. However, it is not the same case in the first past the post system. A party may get more seats than vote shares in the legislature. The next difference between both is that in proportional representation, candidate who wins the election gets a majority of votes, that is 50% plus one vote. However, this is not true in the case of first past the post system, as I have already discussed the example of general election in 2014.
Sir, as you had mentioned that there are some demerits of FPTP system, so can you suggest some way forwards or solutions which can improve this FPTP system of election?
It is very important that our democratic process through election should get strengthened. An FPTP system as we have adopted for election can have some betterments in the future. The first way forward we can think of is that FPTP system with a preference rule system. In the Australian electoral system, the first choice party with the plurality vote share will receive second or third choice of the voter in progress of elimination from the bottom till it reaches to the 50% threshold to be declared as the winner. Such an alternative system should be assessed in terms of the ease of its use for the voters. However, to understand what can be do better with the FPTP system, this point is to be understood. The next way forward can be is that making the political system adequately competitive. Then the aspect of the FPTP system gets politically neutralized and the parties tend to get a share of seats which is roughly commensurate to their vote share also. The next way forward is that safeguarding for smaller political parties. We can have 10% of the seats in the legislature which are included based on the party's vote share. This will ensure an entry point for smaller or newer parties and keep the political system more competitive, robust and accountable. This proportional representation plus FPTP mixed system has been recommended most of the times when we see the way forwards in FPTP system.
Sir, thank you for giving us the information. Dear listeners, it is time to wrap up this episode of the podcast. And in the next episode, we will be back with another topic. So stay connected with StudyIQ and keep studying. You can listen to StudyIQ Presents the podcast on all the audio streaming platforms like Spotify, Hubhopper, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Cuckoo FM, etc. Links are pinned in the comment section below. Thank you.